Hey guys, so this video is on how to do the problem list. And so I'm doing these kind of out of order, or at least this video, because like I was saying, I generally will put in the problem list after putting in all the orders for the admission. It doesn't really matter though, but I just wanted to do this video and kind of give like an example of a patient um, as far as the problem list, and then we'll use that example in the future videos in the next few. And so I'm going to go over, let me open up this here. So I'm going to go over this kind of sample case, and then we'll come up with a problem list, and then I'll go over some other principles as far as this. So say we're admitting this patient. So it's a 65-year-old male. He has a past medical history of heart failure with reduced ejection fraction, and then he has COPD, type 2 diabetes, and hypertension. And then the reason why we're admitting him is because he came in feeling short of breath, and then he was also hypoxic. His oxygen was 80%, and then the ER stabilized him on 3 liters of oxygen. And then now he's satting well on, he's satting well on the 3 liters of oxygen. Other than that, though, his vitals are fine, and the ER ordered some tests here. So they got a chest X-ray that shows pulmonary edema, and then his hemoglobin is at baseline, but he does have anemia, so that's 8.4, and then he has he's hypokalemic as well. And so let me pull this up. So let me see. So these are kind of the 3 basic like sections of the problem list or components of it. So the first problems, and the order of it does kind of matter. I think that's for insurance purposes and reimbursement. And so the first problems that you put are the most kind of life-threatening, and the reasons why, the reasons that would justify admitting the patient to the hospital. So you put the acute problems first, and then you would put it as chronic problems, and then not all the attendings do this, but most of us will do this, is put it's actually, we put in prophylactic measures, and then we kind of address DVT prophylaxis as a problem, just so we don't miss it. But looking through this though, we can see these are his chronic problems, so those would go under here. And then as far as acute problems, you kind of like you need to come up with your diagnosis if that's possible to come up with it. For this case, my thinking is that, and kind of looking over the case, my thinking is that since he has a history of heart failure, and kind of everything kind of points to that, so that's what I'm calling it. So that's going to be one of the acute problems. The most kind of life-threatening problem though is that he came in satting at 80%. And so that's actually going to be my first problem, would be acute hypoxic respiratory failure. And then next I'm going to put a CHF exacerbation. And then you kind of just look for different problems here, like any kind of lab abnormality. And one thing, there's an element of like kind of consolidating them. So you'll see like this is an abnormality, pulmonary edema, but it kind of fits underneath the problem of the CHF exacerbation, because it's like a sign of that, or a sign or symptom of that. And so the plan would be the exact same, like we're going to do the same plan, like diurese the patient, and that should improve this. So we consolidate those, and that's not going to be a separate problem. If the patient was, admitted for something else and this was an incidental finding, then that could be a separate problem. And then you would address why you think that's going on and what you're going to do about it. And then lastly, his potassium is low, so we need to do some things for that. So that would be my other one. And then I wrote out, let's see, I'll do this so it's on one page. So here's the kind of completed problem list here. So acute problems, chronic, and then prophylactic measures. So, and kind of just to reiterate, the reason why this is important is, one, so that everybody in the hospital knows kind of what the problems are for this patient. And then also for reimbursement for this hospitalization, the kind of insurances and Medicare want to see that, or they'll kind of pay more and give more like payment for more hospital days if they see, one, that there's like really acute life-threatening issues, and then two, if there's more chronic medical problems, it kind of increases the complexity of what you're dealing with, and then the kind of predicted length of stay would be a little bit longer. So that's important to always include. You don't have to put in every single chronic problem. Like if they have like depression for the last 40 years and they've been on Lexapro and that's stable, you don't necessarily have to put it in your problem list. But I would generally do like any kind of cardiopulmonary issue, generally would like complicate the hospitalization or make the patient more high risk. So that's that. And then lastly, let's see. Then lastly, one other thing. So this is how you fill it out here. Do it under this main like workflow tab. Don't do it under the, where is it? Don't go under this tab. It is too confusing. So just do it under here. It's pretty easy to type them in here and then add them. I believe medical students too can make the problem list. So a couple things here. When you're putting these in, make sure you're marking their chronic problems as chronic. Otherwise, when they have another encounter with CMC, say they follow up like a week later with their primary care doctor, then basically anything that's not marked as chronic is going to fall off their problem list. So it's going to appear like the patient has no past medical history or nothing wrong with them. So it helps out the patient and other like future providers if you mark these as chronic. Let's see. And then I feel like I had one other thing for this video, but I think that's it though. I'll cover, if I have any other thoughts, I'll put them in the other video. So that's it for this one.